Calaroga Shark Media.
Scrubs, Season 10, Episode 9, My Celebration, original air date April 15th, 2026. Hi, I'm Johnny Mac, and boy, I was kind of getting paranoid that they were just going to, spoilers, that they were just going to kill off Dr. Cox and be like, and that's how the series ends. We never had any intention of doing any more than these, and there's your life lessons for you people. I was terrified they were going to do that, but they did not. As Season 10, Episode 9 ends, Dr. Cox still with us. However, it's a chaotic day at Sacred Heart, forcing the doctors and interns to take on burnout and some life-changing decisions in their relationships with each other, and a couple surprises along the way. And we had two more people returning from the original series. Jordan, the wife, or are they actually married? I can't remember. They live together. They used to be married. Maybe they're not presently married, but whatever. They're in a relationship. Jordan came back, and also the janitor appeared. Now, I was annoyed because I saw spoilers for the janitor, and then on the day of the show, you know who spoiled it? The Scrubs social media account. What are you doing? Why are you telling us the janitor's in the episode? But yes, the janitor was back. The medical emergency of the week is a man who passes out at his daughter's rehearsal dinner. She's getting married tomorrow. Elliot wants to fix him up so he can go to the wedding. The problem? He's got a heart condition. He needs a pacemaker now. He will have to miss the ceremony. Turk suggests holding the wedding in the hospital. Dr. Park officiates. He has been ordained by, quotes, a very progressive online church. There's a dig about getting married in a hospital, and Carla points out, I got married in the hospital. That shut that down pretty quickly. JD meets a potential new love interest. She's Charlie, a quirky visitor, looking for a nice, sensitive guy who'd rather watch a musical than a football game. He's kind of clueless that she's interested in him. Turk says you've got no game. But it turns out one of JD's patients is Charlie's grandma. He invites her to a complete stranger's wedding reception. She accepts. They're starting to vibe a little bit. JD gets a text from Dr. Cox. The text reads, I could really use a friend. JD's like, oh, wow. We hear his narration. Dr. Cox had asked me to come back to Sacred Heart to make a difference, and I don't know yet if I have. But as I look back on my students and my friends, I felt such gratitude for the difference this job had made in me, and now it was time to show up for the man who could finally admit he needed me. Then he gets a second text from Dr. Cox, says, sorry, that wasn't for you. JD says, too late, and heads off to Dr. Cox. Now, as for Dr. Cox, we learned in this episode that his treatment is not working the way they had hoped. Cox lies to Jordan, saying they haven't gotten the test results yet. Jordan doesn't believe this. She shows up at JD's house. She explains, I knew I wouldn't be interrupting you with a sexually satisfied woman of any kind, so I jimmied your door open. JD asks Cox about this, and we get serious Cox again. Cox says, I need to be strong and invulnerable for her, and you should understand that. It's the same thing you always wanted me to be for you. JD agrees to pretend if he's telling Cox about the test results for the first time when Jordan shows up. Jordan isn't buying it. Cox says, I love the way you see me. I didn't want to lose that. And Jordan says, if it helps, I've always seen you as a whiny baby man. Why don't you let me be the strong one for once? Then there's the janitor. The janitor shows up in a suit. JD flinches, but he's like, I'm the chief of medicine now. You have no power over me. The janitor says he's the chief custodian of the Joint Commission. JD doesn't believe him. He calls the commission, and it's the former janitor's phone who rings. So apparently he is the chief custodian of the Joint Commission. The former janitor points out various minor hazards, including a toaster that he says is basically a bomb in a hospital with compressed oxygen. At the end of the episode, we learn that JD's new friend, maintenance guy, is actually the janitor's son. JD says it's great that the janitor got his son a job. Both take offense at the maintenance guy being labeled a Nepo janitor. Maintenance guy says, you're going to pay for this. The janitor says, order restored. At the recent Paley Festival, Zach Braff said he kept foam antlers from a fantasy scene from the Scrubs pilot. Zach explained, if you remember, there's a fantasy in the original pilot where JD's a deer in the headlights, and they were sculpted from foam, but they're amazing. They look totally real, but they're foam, and I've had them for 25 years. Sarah Chalk said she tried to get Rowdy the stuffed dog, but that was impossible. Rowdy was like super under lock and key. She told people, I kept my scrubs. Okay, what happens next? At the time of this recording, still not renewed. But Bill Lawrence and Zach Braff say they are planning for several more seasons. They're talking about 5 seasons. Zach Braff said 5 would be a good number. Everybody should be happy with 5. Whatever Bill wants. Bill Lawrence said none of us would be here if he weren't planning to still do the show. I don't know how many seasons. That's going to be on that guy. Hey, Zach, how many seasons of the show do you want to do? Zach Braff said, I think 5. Bill Lawrence said, so probably 5. Zach Braff said, thanks, Bill. Bill, cool. We okay saying we're done with that then? 5? Zach, I think 5's a great number. Everybody should be happy with 5. Whatever Bill wants, Bill said, there you go. Well, hopefully on a main episode someday soon, I'll be telling you Scrubs was renewed. So far, not renewed. The most recent episode, the season finale, or series finale, arguably, 2.94 million viewers, finishing third. Survivor had 5.06 million. Chicago Med, 3.24. As a comparison, Abbott Elementary at 8:30, which has already been renewed, Abbott did 2.37 million, and again, Scrubs 2.94. And in case you're curious, Nate Bargatze's The Greatest Average American is doing 1.52. So you would think Scrubs will come back, but I get nervous. And I'll see you in the morning.